It says Barr says Mueller could have reached a decision on whether Trump obstructed justice. This is out of CBS this morning. Um, so Barr is, so for those of you who may not be familiar, Mueller recently came out and he says that, um, you know, my office couldn't have, and this is what the media pounced on immediately. The left wing was like, this is what we've been waiting for. They were like standing by with like saliva, like Pavlovian saliva, like somebody ringing the bell, and they were like, oh, finally, he's gonna say it. He's gonna say it. We can jump on this and pounce on this and do something. And so that's what happened. Where it really didn't, but it was enough for them. It was the soundbite that they needed to kind of move forward and say, this is it. We can impeach. We have no evidence, but at least we have Mueller giving us more kind of situational, circumstantial, maybe kind of sort of. I'm not saying no. It's like the guy who won't take no for an answer when you're asking a girl out and she's like no, and he's like, oh, but what about tomorrow? You're like you're super desperate, and you're like, oh, but what if I come back in 5 minutes? Then would you go out with me? Okay, what if I bought you a car? Then what if I, it's like, kind of weird. It's getting creepy. So it's really creepy. But so they're gonna jump on this. I mean, they jump on it. It's exactly what they wanted. So what happened was is that Mueller had said, he was during his, so Mueller gives a press conference. This is the first press conference he gives since the Mueller report was finished and all that stuff. So he gives the report out. Of course, nobody ever reads the report because the media just can't understand that this is over. And so Mueller ends up giving a testimony, and he says he says these are his last remarks, and even if he gets called up by Congress again, he's just going to refer to the report that these are his claims. This is what he believes. And so anyway, so Mueller gets called up, and he's giving a speech, and he basically says, while we didn't find any information to charge President Trump with collusion. In other words, there was no there. He goes on to say, even if we did find something, we wouldn't have been able to prosecute. In other words, he's referring to the fact that, well, it's the attorney general's job to do that. It's the attorney general's job to prosecute. So it would ultimately fall on Barr. And so the media jumped on that as to say, oh, they never would have been able to do anything because it would have ultimately fell in the hands of someone that Trump appointed himself anyway to do the investigation, to prosecute Trump. And so therefore it never actually would have happened. We never would have been able to get, to the real crux of the matter here. So that happens, and the media pounces on it, and they say, "Oh, this is all we need for impeachment." That Trump, that this was like rigged from the get go because they won't stop. They're like the guy, the boyfriend, or not. Well, he's not a boyfriend there. He's just trying to ask her, but they want to play the part. And so Barr comes out and he basically says, that Mueller still could have reached a decision. Wouldn't have impacted his position. He is the special counsel, and it's his job to kind of say what would have been possible. And see, this is what kind of irks me about Mueller. He knows the political climate, and he knows what the impact of the words that he uses and the things that he says are going to have on the general public. And so when someone like Mueller decides not to, to play these word games and kind of say, oh, he kind of like plays it a little, but he throws bones to the media. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows that he's telling the media, that oh, here's a little something, I'm not going radical, but you can, because the guy doesn't like Trump. Listen, we're talking about Robert Mueller, the guy who came to President Trump, the day before he was declared the special counsel investigating Trump in Russia. He comes to Trump's office with Rod Rosenstein, who Rod Rosenstein the next day appoints Robert Mueller to be the special counsel. Robert Mueller comes in the day before and asks President Trump if he can be the director of the FBI because he previously was. And so it's kind of funny that the Rod Rosenstein would choose that same guy. And I believe it later came out that Rod Rosenstein was even escorting Robert Mueller to meet the president originally. So in other words, Rod Rosenstein knew that that Robert Mueller would probably not get the job as FBI director, and then that Rod Rosenstein would then use Robert Mueller as the person to be uh, to be the special counsel. And so he would have just put more more fire, more gasoline on the fire. And so this is what we're left with. So here Barr comes out and Barr says, he could have done it. It's just a matter of he could have stated that, that there might have been criminal activity. Yes, Mueller would not have been able to prosecute, federally. However, he still could have reached that conclusion. He still could have made the case or said why he believes that this should happen. And so, I'm not going to be the interpreter for you guys and say this is what you should take away from this. I'm just going to share my own opinion. You are absolutely, look at this, look at anything and kind of draw your own conclusions. But what I see from this is Robert Mueller, playing these games of saying, oh, it could have been this, could have been this. Look, from my perspective, I don't think Mueller had anything to lose by saying that, there are grounds for criminal investigation. There is enough, there is enough evidence for criminal there's a good chance that there was criminal activity, that it happened, and and he could have laid out a case for that if he did find that was there. But no, he just wants to play word games. He wants to play into the whole politics. He understands. Listen, you cannot exist in the world in 2019 on a social media platform and not be aware of the Trump Russia collusion story. I mean, it's just not going to happen unless you really have to live under a rock at this point. Okay, people who are completely apolitical understand that the Democrats hate Trump and they think that he did something with Russia. Okay, that you can ask somebody, it's wild. So Mueller wants to play games. Barr is trying to set the record straight a little bit here. That's what that's my opinion. That's what I'm picking up from this. How this is being grabbed by the media and used is pretty typical. This is what they needed. Look, they don't have any evidence. They don't have anything to go off of. They need these stories. Okay? And that's why when these stories come along, they pounce on them. Okay? So thank you guys for watching. That's it for this one. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.